The R35 GTR debuted in 2007. George W. Bush was still president, and we had just gotten the first iPhone. Instagram and TikTok were not a thing yet. Yet in 2021, this GTR was still scaring the shit out of other supercars. The GTR set the performance standard all the way back in 2007, and other brands and manufacturers tried to emulate this thing for a very long time. The GTR didn't become analog because Nissan planned it that way. It became analog because everybody else in the industry sprinted forward with big touchscreens, haptic buttons, and a synthetic driving experience. Time has made the GTR feel analog. Now, of course, this isn't just some regular GTR. This is a Nismo GTR. The internet speculates that there were 40 to 50 of these allocated in 2021, and this is one of them. The Nismo package bumped the performance from the 3.8-liter six-cylinder turbo to just about 600 horsepower using turbos derived from the GT3 car. And the theme of the Nismo package seems to be lightweight and carbon fiber, because there is carbon fiber bits everywhere on this thing, along with lightweight forged wheels. You've got carbon fiber vents in the front fenders to help with cooling and downforce. You've got a carbon fiber front bumper and diffuser. You have carbon fiber side skirts that you have to pay attention to when you get in and out of the car. And of course, you have a massive carbon fiber wing on the rear deck lid. You've got carbon bits around your titanium exhaust. Even the trunk lid is carbon fiber. The roof, you probably guessed it, carbon fiber as well. And if you were thinking that was the end, you'd be wrong. The hood, carbon fiber. There's a brace across the engine bay, carbon fiber as well. Today, we're going to drive this Japanese legend, and I'm going to help explain why I think this is the end of an era. Although some of it felt dated at the time, I think it makes it a lot more appealing today for enthusiasts like myself. This specific 2021 Nismo GTR has only 1,200 original miles, and it's going to be listed here on Bring a Trailer later this week. I'll put a link in the description when the auction goes up. My name is Scott, and you're watching the Carrera Cafe. All right, behind the wheel of the Nismo GTR. Foot on the brake, push to start. And that 600 horsepower six-cylinder roars to life. All right, let's go out for a drive. I've actually never driven a GTR until today. Driven a ton of performance vehicles, but never a GTR. So I'm excited that my first experience with a GTR is the most definitive way, and it's a Nismo. I was definitely one of the guys on the sidelines, you know, around 2020 saying, man, the GTR hasn't changed in so long. It's so dated. Fast forward to today, and that's actually the appeal. Most enthusiasts like myself are asking for more tactile, more feel out of our performance cars. It's funny, the GTR didn't change. We did. It didn't become more simple. Other performance cars just became more complicated. And because of that, the GTR now has an analog appeal. A vehicle that back in 2007 was touted as, you know, a computer on wheels for good reason, because it was so ahead of its time. Let's talk a little bit about the interior, because that would have been the thing that I didn't like about this vehicle back in 21, but it's what I love about it today. Right out of the gate, analog gauges. There's no BS in here. And one of the things that I like that Nissan has done in a lot of their vehicles is the steering wheel and the gauge cluster telescope together. So when I lift and lower the wheel or pull it forward and back, the gauge cluster actually moves with it, which is pretty cool. Because this is a Nismo, there's Alcantara everywhere, steering wheel, dash, inside the seats, and it does give it a very premium feel. I'm always a fan of Alcantara. Shifter, love it or hate it, it's a little gimmicky, but it's nothing compared to some of the electronic nonsense that we get today. This is still kind of like a mechanical gear selector, but it has a kind of a weird fascia on top of it. Something that I do appreciate now is there's not some, washer fluid low, for those of you watching on Bring a Trailer. That's all that light is for. This thing has just a couple toggle switches for things pertaining to drive modes. There's not some drive mode selector with 8 different modes like Corsa and Track and Comfort. There's just a couple individual switches for the transmission, suspension, and traction control. And you just kind of hold them. So like here, I'll hold the, I believe that is the transmission, and then we got suspension, and I'm gonna leave traction control on. And that's really it for the drive mode selectors. There's not some overly complex system. I love the fact that we still have regular old HVAC controls, right? I can just turn the dials and stuff just works. Sure, the infotainment screen feels dated compared to today, but that's not what I'm looking for in a sports car. Now, if you would have asked me that in 21, I would have really beat this thing up saying, oh my gosh, look at the screen resolution, that's so bad. Well, that's not the point. Most enthusiasts like myself now want a driver-focused vehicle because so many new cars just are 37-inch curved screens with nightclub ambient lighting and some tricky exhaust that makes fake backfire or induced backfire. The GTR's had a very long production run with just slight refinements over time. I'm guilty of seeing a GTR on the road and not knowing enough about them to say, is that a 2008 or is that a 2020? What's cool about this is, I mean, this thing is like showroom condition. It's 1,200 miles. It's the equivalent of walking into your Nissan store and picking up a brand new vehicle at this point. This vehicle is on loaner to us from RP Exotics. They are a dealer here just outside St. Louis, Missouri. They have a ton of exotic sports cars and luxury SUVs. This vehicle is going up on Bring a Trailer, so I'll put a link in the description for that. And at the end of the video, I'll kind of do a bit of a walk around showing the vehicle's condition. Obviously, with such low miles, I mean, like I said, the thing is damn near concourse. And it even has full PPF on the entire vehicle. So we're just making the way out to some twisty roads here, and then we'll have some fun. This has, of course, the 3.8 liter 6-cylinder making around 600 horsepower with all the Nismo upgrades. I am certainly not going to talk your ear off about specs and performance because this thing's been around for so long, and before YouTube's automotive era, this car existed. So there's tons of content around that. I'm focusing more on the driving experience and that this really kind of marks the end of an era for the Japanese sports car. I mean, there's not a whole lot of Japanese high-performance sports cars left out there. You know, I think about this, the Acura NSX, obviously the LFA, but maybe the LC500. There just isn't a lot out there making numbers like this anymore with this type of driving experience from the Japanese market. Even take something like the Supra, right? Well, you could call it Japanese if you want, but we all know the new Supra is really German bones with the BMW borrowed powertrain. So I'm gonna put this thing in manual here and we'll shift through some of the gears ourselves. That's something else that I thought was kind of interesting in this, and I can appreciate it, is yes, this is a dual clutch, but it just has 6 gears. None of that 15 gear bullshit. Obviously that's sarcasm, but it doesn't have a 8-speed or a 10-speed. It's just got 6 gears. I love the steering feel, the weight. I can tell where the vehicle's gonna go. With the Nismo, this thing has some crazy spec tires on it. I mean, they are just track spec tires. This thing's been picking up all types of pebbles and rocks. I love knocking off the shifts because, again, this thing doesn't have some predictable induced backfire. I haven't really gotten down the rhythm for making it pop and bang because I think they're actually organic. Here, I'll do a upshift a second. See, I got a pop or two there. Oh, holy cow. This thing got squirrely. All-wheel drive with traction control on, the back end came out. I was totally not expecting that. So far in my time driving this thing, what I appreciate is it does kind of make you work for it. You know, during normal around the town driving, this thing isn't egregious. If you keep your foot less than 40–50%, it doesn't feel like a 600 horsepower beast. I really do have to work it to get that power and have fun, which I can appreciate. I've mentioned it on these roads before. You know, a lot of vehicles I drive out here, it's not usable power. I really can't rev them out because there's not a whole lot of shoulder, there's not a lot of room to have fun. I do think these can be spec'd with like a carbon fiber bucket seat. This looks like it has the normal GTR seats, which are a little bit more plush. I could definitely, it doesn't seem like it's an inconvenience to sit in these things. I wouldn't use the word refined, but I was pretty surprised at how this isn't really beating me up when the suspension's in the softer setting, just under normal driving. But then when you flip the switch, you can dial it up and it definitely gets, you know, a pretty stiff feel out of it. It's also a reminder that I don't think I've ever been around a stock GTR. I don't know what it is, but every single GTR I've ever seen on the road always has something done to it, whether that's exhaust or some crazy modifications. It's nice being in a completely unmolested form and it's at its peak, right? I mean, this is how Nissan intended this car to be. All right, let's get around the corner here and we'll go wide open. Wow. Power delivery is pretty linear. There is some turbo lag. Kind of reminds me of 997 turbo as far as how the power comes on. Ooh, there's some good backfire. Man, what's up with all the construction on this road? It's not normally like this. Man, this thing just oozes confidence. Wow. And like I said, you got to work for it. I mean, it feels very like linear and organic in its power delivery. I mean, like I said, I'm really pushing my foot to the floor and revving this thing out to have fun, which I enjoy. I'd love to launch this thing for you guys because I know that's what they were known for. I mean, back in the late 2000s, I mean, the fact that these things could put up the numbers they could was just insane. But this thing's only got 1,200 miles on it. I want to let its future owner get to enjoy that experience. Wow. I mean, it just wants to go. I mean, once you get above like 50, 60, I mean, it just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling. Well guys, my name is Scott. You've been watching the Carrera Cafe. This is a one-man show. I really appreciate you guys coming along for the fun. Like, subscribe, comment. Tell me if you think that this thing is the end of an era for a Japanese icon and that analog driving experience. If you enjoy content like this, please subscribe, come along for the fun. It's all thanks to you guys that I get to continue bringing content like this for you. I've got an 85 Carrera, a 83 380 SL, a GX460, and a Cayenne Turbo in my garage that I make content about. And then I've got a dealer here in town that lets us drive fun stuff like this. Thanks for coming along for the ride, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. All right, we'll do a quick little walk around for the folks on Bring a Trailer who might be interested in this guy. As you'd expect with only 1,200 miles, I mean, the thing has pretty much zero imperfections. The whole car is PPF'd, but you can see bumpers, everything. I mean, it's showroom condition. Wheels are all in good shape, no curb rash. Body panels are nice and straight. Can't believe how much carbon fiber is on this thing. Aston Martin style door handle there. I apologize for the lighting. The sun's in a weird spot this morning. A lot of stuff still wrapped in plastic, door sills and stuff in this vehicle. So some of you still someone's gonna have the enjoyment of peeling that stuff off. Go ahead and fire it up. No dash lights or anything like that. This does need washer fluid. But I've been driving this for a while this week, and there is nothing to report. Pop the engine so you can take a listen. Pop the hood, I should say, so you can take a listen. Everything nice and quiet up here. It didn't leak anything as you'd expect. It was parked in my driveway last night. No smells or weird sounds. Just a 5-year-old car that's practically brand new. Yeah, you can see still there's some plastic there for somebody to take off. Original window sticker. $274,000 back in 2021. Wow. Well guys, thanks for coming along for the ride. My name is Scott, and you've been watching the Carrera Cafe, and look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.